Hey folks, I'm Jack Fossett, and this is the Engl Amps Fuzzyhead Fuzz Pedal. This is, and again, I always say this, but just so that you are aware, I'm not being paid to say this, this is definitely one of the best fuzz pedals I have played in a long time. Construction-wise, it's great. Sound-wise, it's great, and we'll kind of get to the whole gamut here. So, Engl has just started making pedals. This is their custom pedal series. They're made in Germany, and they're really, really high quality. It's got this great kind of brushed metal, the sort of spirals look on the top. It's mirrored, but because of the brushed spirals, you can still see everything okay. It doesn't like, you don't look down and just get, kind of see yourself like, when you turn on your phone and you're going to take a picture and you don't realize the screen is flipped. Do you ever have that with like a mirrored thing? I kind of have that with a mirrored thing. This doesn't do that. You can kind of see some things in it, but you can really see, you know, what you're looking at. It's got a great big bright red LED. It has 4 controls: volume, gain, high frequency, and low frequency. Very straightforward. Input, output. It's true bypass. This kind of has a lot going on under the hood, but in general, it's really just a super high quality, great tone, classic sounding fuzz. It's not a particularly buzzy fuzz, although you can definitely get that if you really push the high frequency. The gain has a really, really nice sweep. If you put the gain back, it gets a drier, crunchier kind of fuzz tone. If you really push the gain, it gets some nice saturation. You know, it feels very all-purpose fuzz to me, but not in a generic way, not in a way like it doesn't have character. I think it has great character, but more that you could use it in a lot of passable fuzz situations. You know, you could, you know, I won't say it sounds like it doesn't sound exactly like a big muff, but you could use it in a big muff setting. You know, you could certainly coax some Pink Floyd tones out of it if you wanted to go for like that Gilmour sort of lead thing. It can do very, very nice rhythmic thing. The low frequency really fills in a lot of the bottom end, but without, in my opinion, getting too muffled or also too boomy. The high frequency, again, it can get pretty biting, and so you can get kind of the buzz sort of sound if you want, or also just if you have a darker rig, that'll really help you cut. So, you know, of course you can, especially if you turn the gain back and you push the volume up, you can use it as a nice boost. It's got nice big knobs. The pots feel really, really smooth. Switch feels rugged, and even has the metal washer on it, you know, as opposed to, you know, plastic washers, which you see on a lot of pedals nowadays. I like that it can kind of do the violin sort of sounding fuzz thing, and again, it just really captures a lot of great classic fuzz tones in one pedal with really basic knobs, and I think that's a cool thing. You know, you could probably dial it in ways where you could, depending on how exact you need this to sound. I mean, you could do old Stone stuff. You could certainly play Satisfaction with this if you kind of really focus on those high frequencies. Again, you could do some Pink Floyd. You can do Hendrix with it. It almost gets some really warm fuzz face tones, especially if you put it into an overdriven amp, or you double it up with an overdrive pedal. Now, on that note, doing this demo in 2 parts. The first part you just saw was with a Gibson Sg. I'm plugging it into a Fender Super Sonic. Now, the Gibson Sg is loaded with Lust for Tone 59 Lustbuckers, which are a really great PAF-style humbucker, and I played that into the clean Bassman channel of the Super Sonic. Now, one of the classic ways to use a fuzz pedal is to, as I just said, plug it into something that's already overdriven. Either the amp is pushed or you're using a pedal with it to kind of springboard off of. So for the next part, what I want to do is use a Fender Stratocaster, but instead of going into the clean channel of this amp, I'm going to go into the overdriven channel. Now, I'm not going to go into it crazy overdriven, and I'll give a little clip at the beginning showing you what level of gain it is. It's just a mild kind of breakup, but you can really, really hear the difference in responsiveness. It gets way warmer. It does kind of lose some attack. So, you know, you'll hear I start off in the same kind of basic neutral settings, but then when I push the high frequencies, it gives that attack more fidelity, and kind of makes it really, it retains the warmth, but it also still cuts and everything. But that's kind of the way that most fuzz players used to use fuzz pedals, whether, you know, you're talking about Hendrix or Jimmy Page or, you know, whoever it was. It's, you had your amp really going and then put the fuzz on top of that, and that's where you really got that super warm fuzz pedal sound. So we're going to do that for the second half with the Stratocaster. The Stratocaster is loaded with Lust for Tone Monterey's, which are a Hendrix-inspired pickup. Also want to let you know I am powering this up today with an Engl Power Tap. They sent that along too, so thank you very much for that. It seems like a real solid, real clean power supply. So far, I've used it mostly for these demos and everything, but as far as power supplies go, you know, it's clean, low noise, seems like it's working great. I'm Jack Fossett. Stay tuned for some more tones. Check out the Engl Fuzzyhead, and we'll see you next time.